Hey, I just record because it sounds, or it's a lot easier than typing and all that. You know what's so funny about like all that's going on with, like you were saying, some strange juju, and I mean all these characters we have coming in and out of our lives, and it's like, look at the last 6 years. It's like you have a kid, and in a weird way, I even predicted that would happen, and it's just like things fall in different places, but yet they're going to fall. And the funny thing about it is that I'm like really exhausted and tired, and like I feel fragile, I guess you could say, from just like all these experiences I've been going through. But like I'm very well versed on them, I guess you could say. And I keep, hearing. I listened to a lot of the audio tapes that I was listening to back in the day, and it was kept saying like, they were actually called the people of understanding. It's a fascinating little thing in Daniel chapter 12 about the this time period, which is clearly, even if it's a coincidence, clearly everything that's happening is going by like something that the Bible predicted. Like it's a program for a play or opera or something. But all the time I would talk and I would post on Facebook for all those years before they basically Kinnaman squared Facebook. They shut it down. The truth was just getting out there everywhere. And the thing that was so funny was that it was one of the main issues of going and telling people all this stuff and talking about numbers on clocks and all these storms that were going to be coming and calamity. It really wasn't to scare people, because I wasn't scared. It was to tell them like, hey, um, you can believe me or not, but once it starts happening, you'll see I'm telling you the truth. But this crazy stuff's going to start going on, and it's going to be really, really weird. And just so I know ahead of time, and the source of that information is a good source. So when it happens, don't be frightened. And yet I can't even take my own advice. I mean, it's not that it's just different. You know what I mean? If it had happened back then, 5 years ago, I would have been ready and gung ho. But it is kind of weird that like when people say, well, why are you, why do you care? Like, why are you telling people this? Like, it sounds doom and gloom. And I'm like, no, my goal is that I'm coming from a position of positivity, and I'm telling them, hey, when this happens, remember Don said it. Now, unfortunately, maybe some people will be like, oh my God, Don said this is going to happen. Everything's going to go to hell. But really, no, because I was always saying it from a positive point of view. I wouldn't have said it if it was a bad thing. And so I guess it's the way we take it. But I think it's kind of funny how I'm not taking my own advice. I'm still in that position of like, oh my God, wow, this is so crazy. Like, what happened? Woo, woo. And I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. Like 3 years ago, you said this was going to happen, and now you're acting surprised. You may not have known the specifics, but and so I've got to remember that. I just haven't been feeling well, and and you listen, it's like obviously the drug thing's been pulled away from me, so I feel weaker and more vulnerable, and like the things with my dad, and I haven't really dealt with my mom's thing post death, and it's just been really weird, really really weird, and so I didn't see myself coming out that way. I saw myself being really strong and knowledgeable, and yet the heart of the matter is I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Even if I died, I know I'm going to be okay. Um, but just so much calamity and things are going on, and I'm following them so closely. I keep forgetting, in a sense, like I used to always joke. I know the end of the movie. I keep forgetting that. I keep thinking, oh my God, this is chaotic. This is madness. This is not part of the script. And now and then I have to get woken up, and it's like, dude, we talked about this 100 times, dude. Chill out. Like you got to ride along the roller coaster. It's everyone's on a roller coaster. We all go up and down, and we go around every corner. We all ride that same roller coaster. And for some people, some parts are scary, and for some people, some parts are fun. And they raise their hands and they go wee. So the heart of the matter is we're all on that same roller coaster, and we all take this ride together. But here I am preaching everybody, okay, we're going to be on a roller coaster ride. Don't panic, you big babies. And here I'm like, dude, this is freaking me out. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of that's going on. I mean, clearly what's happening in the world right now is, we've been preconditioned in the last few years, from elections to weird fires. The weather has been crazy. You mentioned the strange juju. I mean, that's what I was talking about when I said we're having some interesting storms coming. It's, symbolic. I'm not saying that there was like toxic water in the rain, But just like the eclipse, I mean, after the eclipse, we had the fires, we had the shootings, we had all these things happen right after the eclipse. So these things are harbingers, they are symbols. Now, again, there's always regrowth after death, and people change. But it's funny, like you were saying, people are moving everywhere or disappearing. I mean, like I said, everyone I know has got some ailment and is sick, or has a family member who's passed away, and it's usually from something strange. You know what I mean? Like young people dying of things that usually young people don't die from. You know, it's no longer car accidents or drug overdoses. It's like sleep apnea at age 20 or something like that. But again, that all falls into the category of it's going to get weird, everybody. So get ready, haha. And here I am with that arrogant attitude, and yet now I'm curled up in my room, kind of like, should I have a beer? Like I don't know, I'm scared. You know, it's just kind of it's kind of funny. I don't take my own advice. It's very hypocritical, but it's really just because I'm kind of battle worn. As David Wilcock said, he's like, you know, people take us the wrong way. They think we're arrogant. They think that we're like this really pompous attitudes towards the awakening when you get elected to kind of warn people or advise people of it, and it's really we're so burned out. You know what I mean? It's like you got to admit it's really hard when people call you crazy when you're telling them I'm telling you this is going to happen. Like it's hard to explain this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden it happens, and no one says a word to you. Like no one cares. It's like Richard Snowden and the NSA thing. You know, it's like, okay, that's not the first time you heard that. Like a lot of people were saying that for years, but when Richard Snowden came out, all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, he's a traitor, or he's a hero," and I'm just like, "Dude, we've been saying that for 5 years, and you never said a word to me." And even after Snowden comes out, no one says a word. No one cares, and that throws us off. Like it's not like we're looking for credit. That's not it. It's really like we're looking to make sure we're not crazy. But when no one recognizes it, and everyone goes, "Hey, did you hear the news that it's going to rain for 2 weeks?" And I'm like, "It did rain for 2 weeks. I told you about that." You kind of get this weird feeling like people are on a different time space continuum or something like that. And there's a lot of that going on too. I mean, just everything's been, very awkwardly timed. I've been misplacing time. Like sometimes I think it's like 5 o'clock when it's really like 3. Sometimes I think it's like 6 o'clock when it's really like 8. Like I've been missing little gaps of time. It's really weird. But yeah. Anyways, I was just gonna say it's just funny because this is all part of. I mean, this is really isn't new to the people who wrote these classic books of myth or whatever you want to call them of the Torah and Quran and the Bible. And Farrakhan knows what's up. He's I'm always listening to him, and God, he's really loosening up. He's totally changing. So something's about to happen, and this is just part of the preconditioning that we don't understand from the gods, from the alien, whatever you want to call them, the creators. Um, we're being sent on missions, and it's hard to tell when someone gives you like a rock and says, "Okay, hold this. This is part of your mission," and you're like, "Well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?" Just study it. And I guess is what I'm saying. It's like this whole thing. I study maybe too much. I need to live through what I kept preaching instead of like preaching it like it's going to happen in 1,000 years while it's happening. It makes no sense because it is happening. So, anyways, peace. I'll talk to you later.